Welcome everyone to the Cryptid Consortium. It's good to be back with y'all. Here with my brothers. I got Nick and Gary with me. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Doing good.
Pretty good, pretty
Gary?
good. Sweating. It's hot.
Yeah, hot down there, huh?
Yeah.
It's cold up here today, 55 degrees up in the Adirondacks.
Wish I was up there. I can handle that cold a lot better than I can heat.
There it
We
is,
gotta
August
get going.
28th, 2024, and man, it was 97 over here in North Carolina.
Wow.
That's crazy. You're hotter than I am. I'm normally hotter than you are.
Yeah. You're further
Yeah,
west, though. That's
me
the thing.
too.
Yeah.
Well, what do we got tonight, Nick, for show? What are we covering?
We got a little fellow called Sinkhole Sam.
Sinkhole Sam.
Yeah, he's out of Inman, Kansas.
Okay.
And, you remember the first show we did for the Cryptid Consortium guys? We did the Mongolian death worm.
Yes.
Well, Sinkhole Sam is kind of similar to this one here. And
yeah,
I got a lot of research that I did on him. And well, first we got there's one of them. I mean, he is nasty looking too. Look at that.
I think
trying to give some background on old Sinkhole Sam. Well, Newspaper Enterprise Association called it Kansas's answer to the Loch Ness Monster. Kansas City Magazine described it as the greatest monster legend Kansas has ever known.
Wow.
Now, one would not be incorrect to call it, oh man, I guess an oversized worm in a hole.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, it's just really big and then nasty looking. Some people wanted to say it was a snake, but you know what? Snake is old news. A worm that's 21, 20, 26 inches around and 30 feet long. I mean, now that's something. He had a flat head and a round mouth and spiky teeth all around it and everything.
Yeah.
Gary, do we have that picture of him?
Wait, say that again.
It would be a picture of old Sinkhole with his teeth showing.
Steam shovel. Actually,
I guess we don't have that one.
No, you didn't send me that one.
Ah, darn.
Now, gets me about this whole thing, guys. We're talking Kansas here.
Yeah.
That's not exactly, you think of cryptids, you think of back to the Squatches, but you think of the Pacific Northwest, you think of the Southeast areas like that. You don't think of my point is you don't think of Kansas.
No. Well, in this case, after I give you a little background, you'll understand why. I mean, now 25% of the counties in Kansas have sinkholes.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it dots their land all over the place. I mean, sinkholes form when the underlying, I guess they call it substrata of a section of land. It's made up of soft rock like sandstone and limestone. Now, when the substrata kind of debilitates during a heavy rainstorm, the land becomes unsupported. And these sinkholes appear. Oh man, hang on a second, guys.
Yeah. I did not know that, Gary, about the sinkholes in Kansas like that.
Well, even literally northern Oklahoma, there's no geographical change there, but just like Nick was saying, here we have a lot of substrate limestone underneath, and then with sand on top. So when the sand doesn't hold water real well, it perforates water through to the limestone, and then it collapses and sinks. That's the reason here in Oklahoma and Kansas, it's real hard to have any kind of a footing foundation and with cement, because of the shifting sands and stuff. Like my house is 3 years old. And it's already because of the shifting sand. I was trying to pull up a picture of a sinkhole right quick, but it's being cantankerous.
Well, anyway, over there in Kansas, sometimes the sinkhole is as small as a little shallow hole, maybe 6 inches deep, and sometimes it's as big and deep as and catastrophic as it could swallow people, vehicles, and entire buildings up. So I mean,
Wow.
it can get really, really bad. Um,
I'm
well,
pulling up one now. Give me about another minute.
okay.
But this is just an odd creature in general, whatever they're
Really
saying.
is. But anyway, in this time back in 1952, I believe it was,
Yeah.
this time the sinkhole came with a cryptid inside, and they named him Sinkhole Sam.
Okay. Yeah.
Now there's an area they call Big Sinkhole. It
Yes. On the
covers,
lake, right?
yeah, it covers an area of about 100 acres near
Right.
Inman, Kansas.
Yep.
Sinkhole was created. I guess it was caused, really, not created, but it was caused when an oil company drilled there back in the 1920s. Uh, Today, it's filled with water and acts as a shallow lake. Big Sinkhole has a depth that actually changes depending on the amount of rainfall and can get as deep as 15 feet. Now, I mean, I don't think 15 feet is so deep, but but good old Sinkhole Sam is no mere lake monster. Sinkhole Sam is a giant worm or possibly a snake.
Hmm.
People have said different things, but I kind of think he's probably is a worm. Artists usually describe it as a giant worm because I guess it's cooler than some nasty old wet oily snake. So yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's more romantic to say, "Oh God, this giant worm is over there." I mean, after all, they're describing as 30 feet long and 21 inches around, maybe
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it said
whatever it
what
is,
in one of the articles it said as big as a tractor tire. It's
yeah,
big around as a tractor tire, which
yeah,
is pretty big.
right.
I
I
mean,
mean, this
for
this picture
something,
here is more like a snake,
right?
a close-up picture of a snake, a small snake. I guess they took a close-up to make it look like it's humongous. Well, whatever it is, this tube-like cryptid was first seen in the summer of 1952 by two fishermen who were casting their lines in Big Sinkhole. Um, I have no idea. I mean, they must have stocked the sinkhole after
They
it got
might,
filled
yeah.
up with water for them to go fishing. Um, like I said, the two fishermen described it, as being about 30 feet long, 21 inches around, a flat
Mm,
head, a round mouth, edged with spiky teeth. I wish
yeah.
I could have found that picture because that one, out of all the articles that I have read,
Yeah.
it sort of fit mostly what he is. So
Yeah. I'm
I
still looking
really,
for it. And I am.
yeah, I mean, he had a round mouth. That's
Well,
from
that
all.
sounds an awful lot like an eel to me, doesn't it?
Yeah, well,
I know. I mean,
I mean,
God.
totally circular mouth, nothing off about it at all.
Right. Right. I,
So,
as
I'm
far as
just, I'm
as
wondering.
far as the teeth go, though, eels have teeth like that, don't they? They go around the mouth. Some of them freshwater eels.
Some of them do, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's what I thought.
Well, anyway, this town, Inman, it had a
Yep.
population of 600 people, so word got around real quick, and eventually it got out of the town and went beyond, and the monster worm got the attention of journalists from all over the place. I mean, there were newspapers writing all kinds of stuff about them. I
Yeah.
found stuff in Missouri and Oklahoma that they were writing about this worm back in Kansas.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it got a lot of attention. But one journalist in particular, his name was Ernest Dewey.
Yeah.
Um, Dewey decided to write, a big article, about this encounter that the fishermen had. But first, he wanted to go check the area out.
Right.
His article appeared in the Salina Journal in November of 1952. Dewey claimed that he investigated the sinkhole with his assistant. And this is, I don't know, I don't get this one, but his assistant was a scientist named Dr. Aramis. Oh God, let me see. I got it written over here. Pottelbaum. So, I mean, I don't know what a scientist would be.
Yeah. That's
Anyway, according to Dewey, now he's naming this thing. Without even getting their feet wet, they identified the monster as a Fopen Gurkel.
yeah, that's a weird that sounds German almost, doesn't it?
Yeah, like Farfignugan. All right, so we found this Fopen Gurgle. And according to Dewey, the Fopen Gurgles are subterranean creatures. They're harmless, vegetarian, and they are both depressed and they're extinct. However, Dewey did warn, tongue in cheek, that since the Fopennagel, did I pronounce that wrong? Fopengurkel?
Fopengurkel.
Yeah.
Doesn't really know that it's supposed to be extinct. It might not know also that it's harmless and be a vegetarian. So the people of Inman should be wary, and not get too close. However, the people of Inman were not very wary at all. I mean, they continued to crowd the shores of the sinkhole, big sinkhole, hoping to be the early birds. You get it? Early bird gets the worm.
Gets the worm.
How about the word gets the worm gets the early bird?
That would have been really good if he popped out of there and grabbed somebody and dragged them in. Dewey's article, went on to stroke the sudden uptick in tourism, and hundreds of people showed up. Their cars parked around the sinkhole like it was a drive-in movie theater. Now they're all hoping to see a real life creature feature. Anyway, all the commotion eventually subsided. At one point, I guess in later years, because remember this happened in 52. Went on and on for a good 6-7 years. Some of the newspaper articles I was able to pull up still had mention of.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, you're.
Oh, did I move out of range?
Yeah.
There you go. You're better.
There we go. Anyway, like I was saying, some of the newspaper articles I was able to bring up went on and on for another 6-7 years, because there was always a report here, a report there. But then eventually people forgot about it until 1963, when there was a big drought. The water level in Big Sinkhole, which is where Sam was seen, it dropped drastically. That had everybody thinking monster thoughts again. Down in Inman.
Yeah.
Well, everybody hoped it would be easier to see, Sinkhole Sam, now that there was only maybe about 5 feet of water in there. So they would crowd around again. 2 witnesses came forward. Okay, so one teenager, Albert Neufendel. Oops, it just went blank over here. Am I still on, guys?
Yeah.
You're on. Yep.
Oh, okay. Anyway, Albert Newfield, he claimed to have fired his hunting rifle twice at the giant worm and hit him. And he figured, he took care of the town's problem for the people. But actually, he didn't realize that, it's not a problem really, because, it brought in tourism.
Right.
So, and another guy, George, I have it written here again, and it's Rieger, R.E. Rieger. He claimed to have seen it after supposed shooting, from the short bridge that crossed the lake at the time. So George is over there after this kid says he shot it and killed it. And
So
George
he
is
missed.
on this bridge that crosses over it. Is that the bridge?
This is the big sinkhole and bridge.
Yep.
So evidently George was on a bridge and he saw him again. So that was pretty nice.
Did you find any more recent sightings, Nick? The newest one I found was like early 1990s.
Oh, you got one better than I got.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't
The
see this
most
on
recent
that.
was 1977.
Yeah.
Well, now this was not in Big Sinkhole. The one in the 90s was in uh, State Lake, which is like 50 miles south of Ingman. It's in
Mm,
King, Kansas,
mhm.
and not a naturally occurring lake, but was formed by naturally occurring marsh and is located next to the Ninnecosh River. But that was in the early 90s. Uh, Several accounts of a large snake were reported. Eyewitness accounts of snake size vary. Some have said that the size was a large python. Others have said that the girth was so large that even a tractor could not roll it over. That sounds a little bit silly.
Little over the edge.
Uh, you was talking about it. The reason I was wondering if you had found anything since the 90s, I can tell you probably what, if it was there, what stopped it in this area. And if we can come back to the map here of Big
Mhm.
Sinkhole and Inman, Kansas in the
Yeah.
60s and 70s was fracking. We started fracking
Okay.
here in the
Yeah.
we started
Yeah,
fracking in the early 70s, and fracking pushing all the contents and the salt water into the ground would probably kill everything. They say it kills a lot of subterranean stuff.
sure.
Yeah.
Once you said that, I was thinking about that, and I was like, that fracking, fellas, you want to see how close this is to my house? There's Inman where it happened. You come straight south, like I was telling you before the show, 3 hours, and you're at my house. That's probably might have to shoot up there and check that sinkhole out.
Give old
Yeah,
Sinkhole Sam your
you're okay.
address, you know?
Shoot, no, he can stay up in Kansas.
Mhm.
You don't want old Sam to grab you and pull you in.
Shoot,
Yeah.
no, I have a hard enough time with little bitty snakes, let alone big ones.
Well, since that guy George Rager claimed to have seen him after the kid said he shot him, there wasn't so much as a ripple heard about Sinkhole Sam until, over a decade later.
Yeah,
Maybe Sam got washed away by the floods that had happened, in years since he was seen. Um, and then in the mid 60s, people from a town called Kingman, Kansas,
yep, 56 miles
started.
south of.
It's about 1 hour south of
Yep.
Inman.
Yes.
What happened was they organized a hunting party. And the reason they organized a hunting party is because a couple people saw this creature, this long creature, similar to Sinkhole Sam, with the description, grab a calf and drag it into the water of a nearby lake. And
Wow.
the people went out there and they were looking for him. Well, if that was Sinkhole Sam, the citizens of Inman might want to start, appreciating their monster because it looks like he moved over. How it's like, damn, we lost him now. What are we gonna do?
Keep a
But
leash on your monster.
yeah, who knows? If they're lucky, they may see him again the next time if a sinkhole opens up.
I,
They just gotta wait for another sinkhole.
I'm interested that it's funny because if you follow from Ingman to I can't say it.
Inman, Inman.
Ingman to Kingman, there's a river system that follows all
Oh,
through there.
Hmm.
And also that is the big aquifer comes from North Kansas all the way down through Oklahoma, the subterranean aquifer that gives a lot of us our water. I just think it's funny that the sightings are coming south along the river system and the canyon system.
right.
Of course, traversing rivers would be the best way for it to go.
Hmm.
Now, Nick, you said something about was it seen before or after the rains, after the floods?
Well, he got lost after the floods
There
Okay.
was
because
no sightings,
what
right?
they're thinking is that he got pushed, down the river a piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the next time you said you have something from the 90s. I had another one that I'd located from 1977, which was once again in Kingman, Kansas. It was
Mm,
on the outskirts of the town. Uh, Three young boys, I guess by younger, they're saying under 15, and the father of one of the boys, all four of them saw it. And when they saw it, what they told the reporters, they ran. They ran back to the station wagon. They got in and they got out of there because they said this thing was huge, about
Wow.
the size of a man's body around.
Wow.
So figuring that 21, 25 inches or more, and they're reporting it, yeah, that it was about 25 to 30 feet long, and it was on the ground. It came up out of the water, went on the ground, and that's when they all took off. That was 1977. So, Gary, you had something from 1990?
Well, it was just about the same thing. It was from Kingman State Lake. Let me pull that back up.
Yeah.
It was just I'll just reread it real quick.
At the
Sightings,
Kingman County State Lake?
sightings of the creature have stopped over the years, leaving us to wonder if the creature died or has gone back into the cavern where it came from. A similar creature has been reported about 50 miles south of Inman at the Kingman State Lake. The state lake will not naturally occur, and lake was formed from a naturally occurring marsh and is located next to the Ninnecosh River. Both in the I can't even talk. Both in the early 1900s and the late 1960s, several accounts of a large snake were reported. Eyewitness accounts of the snake's size vary. Some have said that the size of the large python. Others have said that its girth is so large that even a tractor could not run over it. In the early 90s, a young man and a young lady saw the snake late one night walking along the shores of the lake. They turned and ran, said that all they seen was something 30 to 40 feet long swimming through the top of the water, and started towards them and scared them, and they ran back to their car. Okay. This creature had to be the way they said. However, some believe this creature is to be the same creature as the same species as Sinkhole Sam. Over time, reports of such snakes have greatly diminished. However, cryptids such as Mothman, and so that would be the last one would be in the 90s. And what's so crazy is, I've been raised around here and I've never heard of this, even being into the cryptids like I have.
Same here. This was the first time I'd ever heard this.
Yeah, but I mean, this is on my back door.
Yeah, you're close. Yeah, you're right there. Yeah.
I mean, it's now you got me. And I really think that if with it happening in the 60s and 70s, like you're saying, Nick, I really think that the fracking's probably what got it.
Well, 52 was the first time it happened. And then again in 65 and then 77. But yeah, I guess the fracking, that would have killed a lot of it, or caused it to go back down into the caverns where that reporter Dewey said he believes they came from.
Yeah. Well, and another thing too that we've had here too, though, since the 50s and 60s, is we have had a lot less water. All of our water systems, is not in the 50s back. We had a lot more water around here. So it was weird. We had the Dust Bowl, and then it started raining. We had a lot of water until like the 50s and 60s, and now they're trying to say, climate change and all that are our water systems. But I really think one interesting, like I was saying, the interesting fact is these sightings seem to be running along that aquifer and that river system.
Right.
It's
right.
Well, as we've discussed in the past, with any of the cryptids, Dogman, Sasquatch, you're probably going to find them closer to water sources.
Yeah.
Because number one, they need water, and number two, what's in water? You got fish and
I'm curious.
Any other type of aquatic food that they might eat. Also deer, raccoons, fox, all that stuff. They're all going to hang by water eventually, sooner or later. So, and this is a waterborne cryptid.
Yep.
Well, let me throw something else at you. I would lean more towards this being a worm type creature, because biologically we would not have enough substantial food for this thing to eat.
Right.
Especially at that size. You want to know what the average lifespan of a earthworm or a worm species is?
Wait, is it long or is it short?
2 to 7 years, but some species can live up to 20 years.
Oh,
so we're talking 52 into the 60s.
I see what you're getting at. Yeah.
Maybe a mutant.
Well, maybe he had a girlfriend and they reproduced,
Well, no, what I'm saying is if it was one, because we had multiple sightings in the 50s and 60s, and then it stopped almost completely until the 90s, and that was just that one kid and girl. If it was, say, a freak mutant worm or something like that. 20-year lifespan,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the Mongolian death worm,
Yeah.
who used to wait and ambush caravans, with horses. I mean, that did one story I was able to bring up. One report is where it took a horse down into the hole,
Yeah. I
and then
remember
the
that.
horse owner went and reported it to the Sultan over there. How come we're not being protected?
Maybe this is the Mongolian death worm. He just took a left at Albuquerque and decided to come.
He took a vacation to the USA.
He was probably over hunting for me.
So that's it. No more sand. I want some water, and I'm going to come over there. Oh man, I mean, I can imagine seeing that thing. Jeez.
That to me would be scarier than seeing like a Bigfoot,
Yeah, I agree.
because it just don't make sense,
At all. It doesn't make any sense.
like we was talking about before the show, if it was in the 90s, like the one in the 90s, I could see that being a big snake that had escaped.
Right.
But
Yeah.
in the 50s and 60s, we didn't have a lot of, people bringing snakes into this area. That's just, I'm going to put that one up there with the Oklahoma octopus. That's just a weird one.
That's
Yeah.
funny. I'll have to do that one of these days.
Yeah. I did Jeremiah, matter of fact, you helped me do that. We did a show on
I remember.
Oklahoma octopus, and it's interesting. And I can't even talk. I've not disproven it. I can tell everybody what it is, and it's a ball of water moccasins, water snakes, because I've seen them a bunch, and they could look like an octopus, when they're coming
And they
down.
bunch together and stay together.
Sure.
I'm more afraid of that ball of water moccasins than I am that octopus. I'll guarantee you that.
Damn right.
But Sinkhole Sam, I mean, how would you protect yourself? That's what I always think in my mind. Dog man or Sasquatch. All right, I got my pepper spray. I got my 308 or 50 cal or 10 millimeter. I've got my electronic flashbangs. I've got all kinds of other stuff. But Sinkhole Sam, I mean, you need a samurai sword for crying out loud.
Daggone.
Shoot the thing, it's going to laugh at you.
Almost like Tremors, It's like, what do you do? There you go. I solved the riddle right there. Tremors. They ended up starting here in Kansas, and they decided to move to Arizona. That's what.
Yeah, just like in the movie, they went from Arizona to what? Was it Africa that ended up in
all over the place.
All over the place. Yeah.
But this was a very, like you said, it went before the show, very interesting. I had never heard of this, never thought of this.
Me neither.
And it's crazy. I wish, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. I wish we knew somebody from the First Nations people in that area. Maybe that they know something about this, but I don't know of. I know a bunch of Cherokees and stuff here in Oklahoma, but you think about it, most of those tribes didn't move. Well, yeah, they moved here in the early to mid 1800s in the Trail of Tears. The local tribes of this area at that time was the Kiowa Apache and the Kiowa, and I'm trying to think of the other one. Blackfoot. No, the Blackfoot's North Dakota. Shit, I can't remember. But I'd like to maybe get some confirmation from the Native American side of it, because if there's sightings in the 50s and 60s, you figure there'd be some farther back than that.
Yeah, but
I'd be interested to hear what they had to say about it. No, you're right, Nick. They probably wouldn't, but it would be interesting. It would be interesting to hear what they had to say.
What do you say, Nick? I couldn't.
No, I said the Native Americans in the United States will not talk to us about anything like that. I mean, Dogman, Sasquatch, and probably any kind of a Sinkhole Sam type creature either. So it's just a dead end there.
Yeah.
Maybe in another 10 years as the younger ones come up, but the stories may be lost to them.
Sure.
Their grandparents, parents may not have said anything to them. That's a pity that they would lose the tradition. In doing so, we would lose information.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be so great. I mean, there's so much information we'd be able to get.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Native Americans.
Yeah.
That would be good for our other show there, Jay.
Yes.
We got to find a Native American that's willing to come on and talk.
We had the one kid there, David.
Yeah,
Maybe he can recommend somebody. Or was it you? I interviewed David with Gary. Was it
it's
you?
me
It
and
was me
you,
and you.
me
It
and
was
you.
me and
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
Gary. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few of them out here that I can get to. It's funny, I can get them to talk to me personally.
Yes.
They won't come on a show, and a
Go from
lot of
that
that
show.
belief is they think if they talk about it that it invokes it upon me.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
Skinwalker will come and visit them, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking at all.
No,
No,
Very
that's
you're
serious.
right. You're right.
serious.
It's
Very
Yeah.
like
serious with
I've
these
got
folks.
a friend that's I actually call him a mentor, but he's in California now, but he's Navajo, real famous in the cryptid,
Mhm.
pretty famous in the cryptid community. And
Yes.
Jeremiah knows who I'm talking about it,
Yep. I do.
but he'll talk to me personally about a lot of this stuff, and he'll guide me in personal issues out. But he's very, and he'll talk about it on some shows, but he's very candid about how he
Yeah.
talks about it on the shows and stuff. It's weird. It's like, when you're talking to them personally, it's like they tell you this to protect you, and then
Yes.
when you get them on a show, they're kind of, I'm going to leave that alone,
Yeah.
and I about ruined my relationship with him by, well, you told me the other night on the phone, and he just looked at me and says, you keep talking and I'm getting off of here,
Yeah.
and that's the reason I'm real respectful with him now, because
Sure.
I've always hated, just on a rant, I've always hated people that would push them, to,
Yeah.
well, come on, talk about it, but it's a part of their
Well,
spiritual
well,
belief.
do it.
Yes. Yeah. It'd be like pushing a Catholic to talk about
Absolutely.
demonology. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Absolutely.
Same principle. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it I truly believe that a lot of people that does interviews and stuff, even with people telling their experiences, they get too pushy and ruin the will make it for the worse. I think if we can
Oh
change our interviewing techniques and maybe be a little bit more respectful
yeah.
and a little bit more persuasive instead of demanding, that people would have a better. I don't know how many times, Jeremiah, you've been with me, and Nick too. We
Mhm.
talk to people and they say, well, I talked to this other person over here, and
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it no more. And it's like, I don't know. You do get a
Yeah.
lot of crazy stories in this. Like when I first, you told me Sinkhole Sam and I'm in Kansas, I'm like, these people been drinking too much, but there's no mention of alcohol, and they're pretty creditable witnesses. It's I don't know. Now I'm wanting to go to Kansas.
Yeah, this one got me. I'm gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have no clue direction. No clue on which direction to go with this one.
We'll give you just a quick idea. If you go straight east of where this happened in Kansas,
Yep.
is the biggest what's the word, network of underground caverns
Okay.
and tunnel systems in the United North America.
Okay.
In lower the Ozark system in Missouri, they're literally miles and miles and miles. We driving truck, I've drove truck and drive underground for like 5 miles to drop a truck off in there. That
Wow.
cavern system, like a lot of your, believe it or not, a lot of your banking systems and stuff have moved into that area because of, and the military has moved into that area,
Right.
right? Because of all this banking system. I mean, banking
Sure.
system. Well, shit, we can pull it up right quick, but it is literally miles and miles. These cavern systems make Carlsbad Cavern like a drop in a bucket.
That's wild. Well, yeah, didn't they call that area the cave capital of the world, Gary?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
I mean, you go to Springfield, and so that's where I get a lot of the cryptids in the Missouri, northern Arkansas, northeastern Oklahoma, north or southeastern Kansas, is because of that cave system. I mean, everywhere. Nick, I love that you had the map system, and then we overlaid that the cave system over the cryptid system, and it's like it's
where they are. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Oh, here we go. Let me do this right quick. Save image as. And come to here. I don't know why my computer's being so silly today. Where'd you go? I didn't want to do that. It saved the link, not the. There we go. Look at this. And share screen. That's the reason I want to get you guys out here, because there's so much.
Oh, wow.
That is south. That is Missouri. I mean, and then that stretches into northern Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma. I mean, that's all that's a geographical list of caves that is mapped.
Which part of it, Gary? The little blue dots, or
All of
the rectangular shapes too?
Let me see if I can pull up the key on it.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's what I was trying to ask you.
You know, we need to get us, Gary, a striker vehicle, and
There we go. Yeah.
get and travel down to those caverns.
Okay. Darker and red indicates greater cave density. Losing stream courses are shown in yellow. And then this is from the National Geographical Service. And blue spots indicate known springs caves with cave springs in them. So, sure. I mean, it's just crazy.
That is crazy.
And you know what's funny? We all know Mr. Shane Carpenter.
Yes.
He's right in the middle of all this.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
But, and in saying that, I mean, if we have that kind of cave system there, that's literally maybe 100 miles from Ingman, 100 and 120.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's about a good 2-hour drive,
which would be about 100, 120 miles.
Yeah.
And I'm sure them caves stretch. I know that some of the caves stretch into eastern Kansas, because I went to. Yeah. My buddy that y'all both know, I'm not gonna mention his name on the air, worked out of Missouri studying the bat population in the caves. Where he's tromped through most of them caves. He said, man, you could get in there and you could, if you had any kind of semblance of survival, you could go jump in one cave, run 10 miles, jump up, go, you know, you can just, he says, no wonder Bigfoot could jump around, you know, up there. If you had any semblance of direction, you know.
Absolutely.
The problem is with the bat pee and poop over there, that's going to get into your lungs, and you'll probably get extremely sick from that. So anytime I've taken a team out and we went into a cave system or a man-made tunnel or whatever, you know, abandoned tunnels and stuff, or abandoned mines, always went in there with, we've got these heavy-duty rubber gloves. We have, of course, the hats on, helmets covered over. We have masks on, and I don't mean just, you know, regular COVID masks. We have the real oxygen, you know, breathing masks, not the oxygen. Respirators.
Yeah.
Well, even in saying that, it's funny you say that, because I got in a discussion about along the same subject couple of months back with a friend of mine, same friend. How many descriptions? How many times you hear a description of a Sasquatch of the raspy breath and the heavy?
The bat poop probably affected them, because that's where they mainly live.
Patches of fur being missing.
Yep.
Yeah.
From you know, being down in the mold and stuff, the bad smell, the sulfurish smell.
I'll tell you, when we got out of those caves and everything, we went and we washed our boots off and everything too. Yeah. And we wised up and we started, you know, putting over boots that were disposable, you know, the rubberized ones.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it was just getting to be ridiculous. It would splash all over the place. I mean, you'd have to take your uniform off, stick it in a plastic bag, and take it to a local laundry.
I don't understand why we're not taking advantage of that. You know, in the here we kind of change the subject, but in the Orient, they use bat guano as fertilizer.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why aren't we harvesting? I do know
Well,
that a lot.
because it's kind of dangerous, Gary. What we use is the fish guano,
Yeah.
you know, instead because it's
Yeah.
less dangerous. Yeah,
Well, I
but
mean, they even said that COVID tried to come from a bat, could be coming from the guano. It very well could be,
I think they were just trying to blame it on that. I
Yeah.
personally believe that they were building a biological weapon.
You and me both.
And they were trying to use that to attack us with. And, you know, the first COVID that came out was basically a trial run.
Yeah.
And you saw what that did to the world. Oh my God, did that ever spread?
Yep.
And it's still around today. So
I know. I
Yep.
just got over it. I'm literally still getting over it. That stuff's brutal. Yeah.
I just upped my stores of ivermectin, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
All
Same
it takes
here.
is a little toothpaste size of that stuff.
That's it.
It's not,
Well,
it doesn't taste too bad. It's like an apple flavored.
Apple flavor.
I'm telling you, instead of using the stuff don't use the vet stuff, I'll send you the link. They make a human pill.
Yeah, I know. That's what we were told. We were told that. Yeah, and I haven't personally used them, but
I took, like I told you, I took 3 doses for 3 days. And you can tell the difference now than I was a week ago. I went from running 102.7 fever, freezing, hacking up blood, and just feeling like crap. And this is my 4th time having COVID, to I feel great. I mean, I literally, of course, my lungs and back is sore from how would you say, the coughing. But just saying, I'll pull up the link. I ordered my ivermectin on Amazon.
Yep.
All right. But don't put it here because we might get in trouble.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we've done said the COVID word a few times. We're probably gonna get this in docked anyway.
Probably. Yeah. As far as sinkhole Sam goes, I don't know I don't know what to think about this one. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
I want to think that he did come from a cavern underneath.
As far as that goes, whatever the hell he is, I think that's exactly where he came from.
Well,
I don't know.
And worms are pretty hardy, you know. I mean, as a kid, I remember some of the guys cutting the worms in half and then a half again, and you'd have 4 worms.
Sure.
You know, and they would all be running around. So I mean, they're pretty hardy.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
And again, it makes sense.
Comprehension that it's still around.
It makes sense from in the 50s and 60s, the sightings, and then we really influxed on our fracking in the late 60s and early 70s.
Yeah, you thought. Yeah.
Gary, like I said, we got to get us a 6-wheel striker vehicle and go check out some of these places.
I actually went and looked yesterday at an H1, and they was a little bit high on it. I almost got it. Me and Crystal almost bought it.
How many miles?
Well over 100. Probably 250, 300,000 on it.
See, I got my H3. It had 84,000 miles on it. It was great.
This was a 2001, and it was cool because it had the first year of the Duramax automatic overdrive, and it was military converted, and in Oklahoma you can still use them. They had titled it. They wanted I wouldn't say that it was a complete military conversion because it had nicer seats in it and a canvas top. He had a helmet top next to it. I could have got it and the helmet top for $6,500.
Wow.
How easy was it to put the hard top on?
They just bolt on like a Blazer.
Or like a Jeep Wrangler kind of deal.
What's that?
Like a Jeep Wrangler?
Yeah. But like I said, it had well over 200,000 miles on it, and the tires was pretty shot on it, and you'd have been 8 to 10,000 to get it good.
To get it.
Yeah,
Sure.
and then here's what Crystal brought up. She said if it had a gas motor, it'd be different. I said, babe, they don't make them with a gas motor.
I was gonna say, was it diesel or converted to gas?
No, it was diesel. It had the Duramax in it, and if the motor goes out, you're looking at another 10 grand putting a motor. And we really didn't need it. I'm looking for a 4-wheel drive, something that we can camp out of and stuff. And
Gary, I think if you not the H3 because it's smaller, but the H2, those H2s are great. You can find an H2 under 90,000 miles.
Well, even a H2,
Right.
I'm not worried about if it's got over 200,000 because I got a 6.0 in them and a 460 LED. I can rebuild all that. But we're going tomorrow to look at an FJ. Crystal's really wanting an FJ. And what's crazy, they're super expensive now because they don't make them. Myself, I'd go find me an extended cab or a crew cab Super Duty Ford 4-wheel drive and throw a camper shell on it. But she wants something a little bit more compact. And but now in November we're getting her new car, so if I need to take any road trips, we'll have that all-wheel drive. But we need something for me where I'm getting in good enough shape now, and she's getting involved. We're going to start hiking and spend some more time in southeastern Oklahoma, and with Dad, with his health, I'm probably going to have to start spending some more time at the farm.
Yeah.
But we went and looked at it, and there was just a little bit too much on it. If it had been about 4,000, we'd have probably done it, just because it's an H1. But
there's plenty of H1s out there. I mean,
oh yeah,
willing to travel a little bit.
I'd be happy with a Chevy Blazer or a Ford Bronco or something like that. But she wants a little bigger. I know what she's wanting. She's wanting an FJ, but they're, like I said, their powertrains are not that good. They're super expensive because everybody wants them. Well, fellas.
Yeah, I get it. It's
That's the end of the program.
I just don't know which direction to go, and I think if anyone out there's got any advice, hit one of us up and let us know what you think this thing is, because I have no idea.
This is one of the more abstruse ones. It was
absolutely. But everyone, go ahead, Gary.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, I still think it was a Mongolian death worm that took a left at Albuquerque.
Take a left at Albuquerque.
Like them. From all the descriptions, everybody's saying the same thing.
How do you say that? So. Fargan Kipple or
Farfignugan.
Farfignugan. You know, one thing though that comes to mind in saying that, we need to look at the. I need to do a little more research into the populational area of Ingman, Kansas, and see if there's any Norse and Northeastern European immigrants coming in.
Yeah,
because of the serpent from the. I might look into that since I'm close.
Yeah, check that out. I'd be interested to hear what you find on that.
Just like with the Blair, I mean, with the Beast of Bray, can't even talk. Beast of Bray Road. You know, that whole area is from that part of the country that's, you know.
Yeah. Well, everyone, we'll be back next week with another good cryptid for you. But for now, we got to cut out. Thanks for joining us, and everyone be good to each other, and God bless. Gentlemen, see you two later.